Blessings and light, beautiful family in the light. So much love to all of you on this wonderful Wednesday, the 23rd of November, right before Thanksgiving here in the United States of America. I am so giddy and so joyous to invite one of my dearest sisters that I've had the joy of knowing for many, many, many years, to this next episode of Ascension Hour with Rev HoniB. And it is so, so wonderful to be able to collaborate in this way and bring her perception of ascension into this hour. So please help me welcome Tanya Colucci. Hello.
Morning or afternoon, everybody.
That's right. It's God afternoon for sure. Welcome, Tanya. Welcome, Tanya. And I'm so looking forward to the wisdom that you're going to be sharing with our audience today. Right. So as always, before we get started, we're going to call in these prayers. So let us just uncross our legs, put our feet flat on the floor together. Let us drop into our heart space, closing the eyes. Let's take a nice deep in breath from this horizontal plane into our heart. Deep breath, slow breath, and hold it in this heart as we connect with that beautiful white crystalline golden flame inside. And let us breathe that out. Let us draw the next breath all the way again, nice deep, slower in breath, all the way into the center of our crystalline diamond heart. And hold the breath as you drop your attention to your lower chakra, passing your Earth Star chakra, going all the way down to the heart of Sophia Gaia, dropping so deep into her heart, making that connection from your heart to her heart as you release the breath. And next in breath, draw the breath strongly from this horizontal plane back into your center of your crystalline diamond heart. Hold the breath right there as you draw your attention now upward through your higher chakras, passing through your soul star chakra, passing through all the different dimensional consciousness, all the way up to the great central sun and to the heart of source. As you make the connection to the heart of source and release your breath. And final in breath, draw the breath back all the way into the center of your heart. As you drop into this beautiful heart, slowing it down, centralizing in this beautiful horizontal axis and vertical axis coming into its center, seeing, sensing, feeling that ball of light inside, and breathe it all the way out to all directions, to your left, to your right, to your front, to your back, to above and below. As I welcome all of us to be in this dazzling, beautiful, crystalline ball of light that is fully connected to the vertical axis and horizontal axis, centralized right in the center. With this field of light, we ask it to only radiate the source of light. Anything less than this divine perfection may not interact in any which way. So may all the communication be communicated from the center of this beautiful, dazzling, crystalline ball of light that is placed upon each of us and on this call. As we recognize only the highest, only the best is translated into this dimensional plane of consciousness, according to divine's holy will, and so be it as we begin. Hello, Tanya, and hello, everyone. Thank you so much for making the time for especially this week, Tanya, and this special Thanksgiving, and right before this mastery beautiful gateway yesterday in this window that we happen to fall in. And here you are sharing your wisdom of ascension. And I want to just dive right in, sister, because there's nothing like coming into this now, the golden moment of this now. And tell me, where are you in this fantastic journey of ascension in your now? Where are you? What is that inner sight has sort of touched upon its deeper wisdom, deeper awareness, deeper true sight that is here to share with us? So start with just right now where you are.
Yeah, so as I was reflecting on, yesterday morning, I was actually reflecting on, how I wanted to relay how I'm embodying ascension right now. And I feel as though it is about the embodiment. We can sit and bring in the light, but how can we hold that vibration in our body in this 3D world and come up against some of the densities that we might interact with, on a day-to-day basis. And so I was reflecting on that quite a bit. And my 10-year-old son is quite a teacher to me. And, he's been really standing in his truth and noticing as he's getting older, butting up against where he's not being fully honored and valued as a person, and how he is, okay, I'm not being valued here. It's time for me to move on. And I'm like, wow, without thinking twice about it, without having to really say anything or take any action, And so I'm realizing with this embodiment, there comes, we have a choice whether or not we're going to engage with that denser energy or not, and what that looks like. And sometimes we do have to. And then how can we anchor our beliefs and hold them from our heart space to not really budge? And it might create some outer chaos, but how can we just stand in our light and in our beliefs and hold those values strong? And so that's where I am right now, is that embodiment in this 3D world, in my day-to-day interactions with everybody. And yeah.
And I love that you said the embodiment, because the last several presenters on the show, Tanya, have all also communicated the embodiment and what they're facing with that embodiment and what their mechanics. It's like as if, those of us on the leading edge of ascension, we are now in this sort of the space where we are really discovering the mechanics of embodiment. And it's not a one set way. You've seen, and especially how perfect Thanksgiving, where we get to meet the families and everything. You face so many things, and it's true art, right? To embody it through just like the joy of family, and everything else that comes with the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, how can we soften into those, into those challenges where we might have reacted a different way before, but that embodiment of feeling it, but not letting it stay stuck in our bodies or the heaviness of it. And,
right. And how have you moved through that? Because you get to, at some point, we all went through such intensity of literally experiencing that density and being pulled in, and if anything, drowning in it, and then being on this side of just observing it but not getting pulled into it. What are some of the ways that you're noticing, or some areas you're noticing, okay, you really got this one, okay, you got the mechanics of it, but here still not quite yet?
I would say for me, it's been embodying and really practicing in the moments, noticing the old patterns of how I might have responded, and then just taking a step back and softening into it a little bit, and just coming into my heart space and letting the outer characters, play out how they may. And me just sitting inside of my space through my breath, through honoring myself, taking time for myself whenever it may be needed. But then, realizing what are the boundaries that I'm creating around me, and what boundaries are not okay for people to cross, and where do I have to step and even create a stronger boundary with those individuals without letting the ego get involved, but from my heart space. And there are certain core values of like integrity and honoring myself. And with that comes leading in a certain way, whether it be in a relationship with my son, friends, family, clients, and other, outside people, but staying in that space as much as I can.
Yeah. And speaking of boundaries, I feel this is a really interesting one that through this ascension journey, we've looked at boundary in one way at some point, then we discover again, then it's seen from a different lens again, and then you come across it again, then it's seen from a different lens. How are you seeing boundary now from your lens of where you are now on your ascension?
For me, what that looks like in day-to-day life is setting boundaries with who and where I spend my time, like who I will, share my time with, but also standing up for, my beliefs and setting that clear boundary of, what is acceptable and what is not acceptable to engage in. So that lower frequency of force and ego, and this is how it is, this is my way, like coming at me, creating that clear boundary that that's not okay for you to bring that into my energy field. And it's not okay, with how it's being presented in the most loving, way of trying to get the other side to see a more open way to communicate. And how can I help you help me? Like that type of exchange. And if the person's not open to that, setting that clear boundary of it's probably not somebody that I need to be interacting with, so who is able to enter into that space?
Yeah, I feel this is very important, especially for audience to hear that, because again, it goes through different, it's like different layers within the ascension. Is different layers, different consciousness, different, that as the vibration raises, then there's different awarenesses that kicks in, and then you see it differently. Then again, is that mechanics, how you're going to respond within that. And I don't know if you have found some of these interactions that, let's say, that are denser, that happen to be, I don't know, I've been discovering on my ascension walk, especially now, Tanya, that the value of that density that's giving me the authority to choose differently, whereas before I couldn't quite see it that way, because I feel there was more charged energy involved, where I noticed it's giving me the opportunity to express what is in resonance, what is not in resonance, simply. So then the direction, how it goes. And I feel this is very important, as that clarity is established. And that clarity is not necessarily about them. It's about what you are now crystal clear with. Have you've noticed that as well? That creates that beautiful, it's like I don't know, I've moved from that strong boundary like this to this natural, it already creates it.
Right. I think, yes, when you're very clear, I guess when I say boundary too, is what you're saying as well, like being very clear about, what is acceptable, what is not, but in an open way. But when I'm very clear about expressing that, a lot of times that just naturally creates, okay.
Yeah.
The other side goes the other way. And it's just like a natural flowing process. And I find too, that when you butt up against that denser energy, the clarity sometimes is not well received. and how much chaos it causes on the other side, but how much ease it is within, my being, because I'm honoring and speaking the truth from my heart space, and honoring that more of that love frequency, that acceptance, that compassion, that expression with clear communication. And
And isn't it beautiful? We were having this conversation last week with Zoe, similar conversation, Tanya, in that it becomes this, again, it's like almost like, let's say specific individual that has brought forth this encounter that was denser, that gave the opportunity to rise greater in that crystalline clarity lens, and the authority and the awareness from that place of her love, like, no, my preference is this is what caused more truth to me in this way. I don't know if you noticed that, like it's almost like as if you don't even get so upset of that individual or the situation anymore. Whereas before we would get actually upset, like really, really upset. But have you found that it's getting like it's starting to get a little easier and easier?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like within myself, normally it would bring a lot of heaviness, or like my mind, like replaying, like, well, maybe, and that definitely more, from the ego part of you, but me just being able to have this point of view of like, wow, isn't this interesting? When I'm staying in my space of being very clearly communicating from the heart space and honoring myself, that's the choice that I made, and how easy it is when the other side, it's causing that disruption, and how it doesn't affect my energy field, my mind, my physical body as much as it did. And it's easier to navigate in that space, and it feels really good. But I think a part of that is letting go of that old way of being, of having to,
Yeah, and that's part of it, that ascension walk, because don't we meet it? Hasn't it been like, for God's sakes, like sent back to the drawing board, back again, until it doesn't have that charge engine? I feel like it's finally those areas within ourselves is healing or healed, that it doesn't have just that impact anymore. I feel like I've come to really appreciate and value when that comes, when it no longer, there is no charge. It's easy. It's like, then it's like, wow, like, oh my God, it's like that inner light, this part got healed. And thank you, that person that even brought it. Like, it just doesn't bother anymore. Like, there's such a, I don't know, there's such a revelation in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it feels good, to be at that place, but it's also, I think, highlighting even more in our collective consciousness, how this need to like overdo, overcompete, be the best of the best at certain things, like that really isn't working anymore, because when we're in that vibration, we don't take into consideration the whole, whether it is the whole of one person or the whole collective consciousness of a group of people. So that's not really working anymore. So how can we allow this to affect that collective energy in a little bit more impactful way,
But do you find like that collective energy really is representing this inner collective energy? So as we get to find that balancing within, right, then we're able to experience the harmonization or the synchronization or the resonance, right? So then we are able to, because like in the example we're speaking about, like if a person is no longer impacting, so we can really then almost like see that within the collective, how that can happen, because it comes to finally acceptance and those higher qualities of divine, which is acceptance, non-judgmental. There's another, I find it, as I know you and I have had so many conversations about this, like we can have it on the intellectual plane and the mental body, but there's another one when it gets in this emotional body, and then there's a whole other one, the physical body experiencing it. It's like, this is the mastery.
Yes. Navigating it and using all of the senses, and especially with the work that I do with the healing body work, is how can we use our body as sort of a navigation tool? So when we're feeling that heaviness or that tightness, how can, whether it's with the emotional body or the energy that's coming at us, how can we use our body as a tool in this plane to just navigate if we're going in the right direction or not, or if we need to pull back? And because we should feel light, it should feel open, it should feel easeful. And when our physical body is communicating something different, something's getting stuck. And
that's a perfect segment to speak about this, because a lot of the times, many of us have been so disconnected from our bodies, and this ascension journey is forcing us to come into the body.
Right.
So what are some of the like discoveries, Tanya, in your own personal life that you've discovered with your body, that is like, oh wait, this is communicating this to me, this is communicating this to me, so that the audience is like, let me pay attention to this?
Right. So I would say for me, where I feel when something's not in alignment or it's causing a lot of that denser energy to come up, is, the tightness in the abdomen, the distension, the bloating in the abdomen, even the heaviness on the shoulders and the neck, the throat, tightening. So I would say those are my key areas in terms of when I feel things aren't really in resonance. And it's fascinating to observe that. And if I go back to even using that, my son is an example about him making a personal choice about, whether or not he was going to stay playing with a certain baseball team or not. When he made that decision, like, even though like all these other like 3D things are in my mind are like, oh no, like what if like there's not another team for you to play on? Like that doesn't really matter. But when he said the words, like the ease that came in my body, like it just felt so much lighter. I was like, wow, that's fascinating. And I didn't I wasn't realizing like how much heaviness that was creating. It wasn't even having anything to do with me, right? It was, with him. But just feeling that that's probably for the best for him too, in his energy field, because it's just going to redirect and open up pathways for him that is going to allow him to excel in an even faster rate than he was. So, using that body as an indicator, even with our close family members, and the decisions that they're making, and how does that feel, to help give them guidance and support as well.
That's a very good point. Especially, our children, like they're just so, there's a filter that they don't have that we came and we have, that we're learning to undo, but they are so freaking clear. It's incredible. And I resonate with this one, like Nevon went through so many different sports. He excelled, and just like that, he would let him go. And I could feel, I would be like distraught, like, what happened? You were so good. Like, what happened? There's that attachment, right? But then he was like, no, I'm going to go to another one. And just like that again. And same, Tanya, I would feel just, because I could feel like the week before he was not himself. The minute he said that, then it was done. I could also feel in my body. It was incredible to see that. And I feel like that's why these crystal children are also part of our life, to give us that further authority. The way they entered, they have it much faster.
Oh yeah.
It's like we have to almost see that as an example, right? Because out of so much love, we can see it and then have the authority then for ourselves again.
Right.
Fascinating.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I had to work through all the layers of like, but for him, it was just very clear.
Congratulations.
There's no need for any of that, So that's been a huge lesson for me.
It's a
through
great,
him. Yeah.
great.
And
And
I'm
for
like,
people
wow.
that don't have children, like I feel even your pets will communicate, wouldn't
Yeah.
you? Or like your siblings or your pet, like you that's why we're in these dynamics, because it's a purpose. It will communicate right away to you.
Right. And that's when he's being very crystal clear, but look how it triggered other people, right? Even myself a little bit and other people, but it's fascinating to see. But when you're in that alignment and honoring your truth, he's not responsible for all these other people, right? And so it's fascinating to just watch. And that's where that, how can we hold that vibration of clarity and honoring of ourselves on a daily basis? Because him standing in his truth is going to have an effect on other people, very far outside of his immediate circle. So,
and that's that again, like this beautiful awareness. It seems like with ascension as a journey, because it is a journey, it's like continuous light bulbs that inside of one, like these photonic light bodies become online through these different encounters. I found literally on daily basis, every day is a new experience. Every single day, like another light bulb comes on and another light bulb comes on and another light, based on that encounter. And through that awareness, then the body, or align it into the body, might be not in the body even, then trying to pull it into the body so it becomes a truth within the physical template.
yes.
Yeah. Wow, what a journey. So do you find with yours it's getting easier? Do you find like the gap is closing, Tanya? It's getting easier and easier, like
Yeah. Something that might have taken days or like even hours, or just like going over and over and over. It's almost I don't want to say immediate, but it's happening within minutes of allowing it to transition. So that feels actually really good and really light. And it feels like it's opening up space to bring in other things, as well as it's allowing me to keep everything organized in like the adulting world that needs to be where it needs to be without me having to put a lot of effort into it, so that I can focus on being more in that alignment and that energetic space, and having more ease and flow with it, rather than
experiencing more of that, those like more of those joyous vibration that are more continuous, rather than just little pockets of them that like extending more and more, because this gap has closed even more and more. Are you experiencing that?
Yeah, I guess I would describe it as my being on all levels doesn't really want to engage with not feeling good, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so anytime that, it pops up, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's really not how we want to, the space that we want to be in. And it's just like, no thanks, no thanks, no thanks. And so it allows that more even feeling,
Yeah, totally. And do you find, because I know you're in a beloved divine union relationship, and through these interviews, I feel like some of us that are in these unions, there's that expedited experience, and then the gap closing, and more comes, and the gap closes, more come, but there's a whole lot more come, and then closing. So if you were to speak to that, because it's like a holy shizzle, right?
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of months have definitely been, maybe not for myself as much as for my my divine partner. Personally, her experiencing a lot of challenges, like coming at her like rapid fire. She's like, "Oh, what's happening?" Like, like coming at her. I'm like, maybe you're just supposed to be in this space of you're just rapid fire cleaning it up, because you don't do anything slow. So it's just being in this, just being in the discomfort of it. But it's very fascinating. Whereas I'm feeling a lot of ease in everything. Of course, I'm holding that space for her to clear out more stuff. So, it's just holding the space to let more stuff come in and clear out the stuff.
It is just, again, like I find That's why I started this show, this particular one, Ascension, because each of us have what we're experiencing, and there's so much similarity, and where we are on the journey, and the audience, they're all, you know, they're all
yeah.
with the spectrum of the journey. And it sure hasn't been easy in any way, in any freaking, because it's not designed that way. It's designed to be a very real, authentic experience, and an individual experience that literally authenticated, just like how our phones are authenticate, you know, the verification, because it has to come through you. It has to become your own book of revelation, your own interpretation that has now revealed inside of you, so you can literally own it. That's part of that divine sovereignty. And no, in no way easy. Yet I feel it's like this hump. Some of us on this leading edge, finally we've gotten over this hump, and it seems like this, we're spread out different parts of the world, that it's almost like the Himalayas. We finally freaking climbed this shit, right? We're now here. Oh, okay, so they're coming down the summit. It's like, okay, this is starting to get a little easier. This is okay. All right, this is good. You know, and we're watching the other ones, you know, and there's so much compassion around that.
Yeah.
So much compassion.
Yep.
I never thought there would be this much compassion. I never even imagined it was possible to have this much compassion with some pretty
yeah. I mean, I think with that compassion comes that, you know, that holding the space, and that holding the space, so that, you know, the compassion with allowing them to clean out all the stuff that they still left to clean out and work through in order to get lighter and bring in more of the light, and just observing rather than being attached to any outcomes, or, you know.
Absolutely. And are you finding, Tanya, that the distinction between empathy, sympathy, and compassion is like, as a vibration, these are complete different frequencies?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to speak to that a little bit for a second? What are you discovering within this, in this ascension area now?
You know, I would say with the empathy is, you know, I'm a little bit more easy to be in that space, whereas before I might not have been as, you know, have that empathy for an individual or situation. The compassion is definitely a lot easier. I feel like the compassion is way up here. My empathy is like here. And then the sympathy is, you know, yeah, I mean, I feel like that space of empathy and compassion is more where I'm trying to hold the space for people. But, you know,
it's a huge part. I feel like that what I found is this, same, Tanya, like this, there's this empathy, there's sympathy, empathizing, sympathizing, and then there's this, like, the compassion is both, but yet so
bigger,
so ginormous, and
right.
Doesn't get pulled to this and that. I found with the compassion, I'm able to really stay here, but not drop into that shoe, yet see it over, like we talked about earlier. And wow, I really feel God in compassion. I feel divine. I feel source. I feel that quality. It's like I experience the ray of it. Wow, like I feel a lot of Christ energy in that compassion. Wow, this is what was spoken about. Like, how interesting it is to actually viscerally feel this, experiencing, and how liberating it feels. find it with the compassion, you're experiencing liberation?
Yeah, that's why the sympathy and the empathy, I feel like, I don't want to say is like a lower vibration, but I feel like it pulls you into those categories of like, well, I feel, whereas the compassion is more of a neutral space of like being able to offer that love and hold the space for somebody as they're going through something without, getting pulled into the different scenarios and the emotions. And you're able to see it from above more and not pull it in, any of it in, but just hold that loving space, like you're wrapping your arms around somebody or a situation in a loving way. Yeah.
And it's almost like also like from that lens, you trust that they will be able to move through whatever it is that they're facing, right? It's like it's almost like as if you have compassion and celebration at the same time. Right. It's such an interesting experience. Like I feel like I'm finding these refinements of, wow, like these qualities are, wow, like it's are amazing. Like just again, the mechanics of it is extraordinary, dropping in slowly more and more into the mechanics of its operating system.
I think, with what you were just saying, like for me, when I see that, 'cause I'm a very visual person, is being the healer and sort of the mom and I would label myself as an over caregiver, like taking on it as my responsibility to make everything better and to like help people solve all their problems. And I think from the lens of compassion, where I feel like with this ascension, it has helped me get to the point of is that releasing the strings of the feelings that I have to help guide their processes or help them in any way other than just holding that love and that space for them to like figure it out on their own. And then when they need the assistance or the help, I'm here, but you have to take the step to ask rather than me trying to overly caregive and overly help by pulling the strings a little bit and just let it unravel and just watch and
Oh yeah. I'm so happy you spoke in that, because this is again for audience very important. We're moving like the client I had yesterday, I was speaking with her regarding like literally like our iPhone. We as healers, when we come into this incarnation, there's a default setting like our iPhone as the overextension or the rescuer, and literally we have to, at some point we get to a point where we got to go in, and that has to like swipe left, close that. Get out, sister, no more.
I can't.
Move to here. I remember like it was like last year at some point, Tanya, I had like all these apps in my software in me. I had to go and no, swipe left, swipe I had to like start closing them. Honestly, I was like, no, no, you catch yourself, like no more,
Yep.
Exactly.
It feels so good. It's very liberating, and trusting that like you have there's other people, there's other support teams that can help. And I'm just, offering what I can offer from my heart, holding the space, but it feels so much lighter and easeful, and it's allowing me to free myself up. To expand more.
Put the energy towards yourself, that true higher self-love, because that's where you came here to serve through that. And that, how can you, when you're overextended all over the place, you just can't. And that's where we're catching ourselves. So awesome. So let's move it also as perfect. So as we go towards this, you have a wonderful practice. We've been very, very blessed to be in your incredible sacred space. You have one of the most truly, Tanya, Michael and I have always said that to you. We have facilitated in so many healing spaces, so many, in so many countries. You have really created a very clean, pure, energetic field space in your healing space that you facilitate at. And I know you also do it online, but I mean, I really wish, and I hold the vision that more places are that clean, the details, and so beautiful, so fantastic. And I wish more people that are in Bluffton, South Carolina come and experience it directly. So speak a little bit about where you are right now, what you're offering, and what's coming up, anything coming up that the audience can know about, and they can, get in touch with you and experience the magnificent healings that you offer.
Yeah, so I offer a healing form of bodywork called myofascial release. I'm also a shaman, and I do energy healing, sound healing, meditation, breath work. And so I like to work through the physical body first, releasing some of those dense energies that are there. And while I'm doing that, getting the person to bring their energy back into their body and really feel from their heart space, what is it that they're still holding on to that needs to be let go of, through physical release, emotional release, and then really getting them, as we open up the body, to the core essence of who they are at their core soul essence, and allowing them to live more authentically into what that looks like for them. And then pulling in all the other tools that I do. I do work with clients online doing virtual coaching, sacred soul guidance, energy healing at a distance. And I'm getting ready to, in January, I'll be doing some group healing work at a hotel nearby, the Montage Hotel. People can reach out to me. I do shamanic guided journeys with cacao virtually and in person. And then I have a retreat coming up. It's a little bit of ways away in 2024. I'll be taking a group to Peru and going on a journey there with a dear shaman and friend of mine. So I look forward to that. But everyone can find me on my website, sacredsoulguidance.com. My Instagram is tcoluccimyofascialhealer or Sacred Soul Guidance.
I'll post those.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, so reach out if you're interested in the retreat or connecting online or virtually or in person, let me know.
Wonderful. So wonderful. And I'm so excited that Tanya is going to also take part in she'll be one of the individuals in the directory of our healers for the Ascension Alchemy Private Divine Healing Ministry. So this is we have an area of just the healers that we stand by. So it's very, very exciting, and just all these wonderful collaborations and truly here to support the individual's ascension. And really grateful to you, Tanya. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on. It was really nice.
I know, so good. And happy Thanksgiving to your whole family.
Thank you. My birthday's tomorrow too, so I'm excited for that. My solar return on Thanksgiving Day.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, truly Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Really. And thank you everyone that got a chance to be present with us today on this week. And may you just really drop into your heart, have that lens of compassion with you, with especially this week, everything that comes on, and discover that within yourself. And it feels so much better and so much liberally, and it moves you from that lens of judgment and allows you to just ground into yourself. And feel free to reach out to Tanya with her beautiful offerings and her retreat. And I look forward in connecting with everyone next week. Thank you so much for being here. Tanya, love you so much.
Blessings. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Much love.